Yo, what's good YouTube? In today's video, I'm gonna give you guys the new top 5 meta SMG loadouts you need to be using. So if you enjoyed this video, let's break 200 likes, subscribe with notifications turned on, and let's get into it. All right, hopping into it here. My first SMG I'm gonna be giving you guys a loadout for is the KSV. This is one of the most tried and true, reliable SMGs. It's great on ground loot, great in a loadout. I mean, it's one of my favorite ones to get off ground loot. To be honest, between that and the Jackal, I always love picking up a KSV in the Jackal, but the Jackal is not really as good as a loadout SMG. I just like it as ground loot. So let's get in here and show you guys how to make this thing really effective. So first thing, we're skipping the optic, skipping the muzzle. We don't need either of those, realistically speaking. Going straight for that barrel, and we're gonna throw on the long barrel. This gives us that maximum increase to our damage range, 19.6 meters. This puts you kind of leaps and bounds in front of most other SMGs. So this, for other reasons, can work great as like a sniper support, for instance. Like I see people make it out to a sniper support by running like the reinforced barrel on there, because it gets you out to a crazy bullet velocity of 776, and your damage at effective range is 16.8. So still really good, but overall, I mean, obviously just for close range, we care more about the overall damage range than we do bullet velocity. It doesn't really matter for the ranges we're going to be using it at. So just for the purposes of close range, we're using the long barrel. Under barrel section, we're gonna go down here and we're gonna throw on that Ranger foregrip. This is what we always do for this thing. I mean, horizontal recoil control, sprinting movement speed. This is fantastic. It's not like another gun where it's got weird side to side recoil, which is hard to control. This is very easy to control, super minimal. So you guys should just be good with running the Ranger foregrip. You really don't need anything else. Magazine, we're gonna go down, throw on Extended Mag 2 just to get us 50 rounds in the mag. It's kind of what we always like to do, so go ahead and throw on Extended Mag 2. My preference, I don't ever go for Extended Mag 1. I don't think it's beneficial in really any way, shape, or form. So go throw on Extended Mag 2 and you guys will be good to go. Rear grip, we're gonna go throw on that ergonomic grip here. This is just gonna give us slide to fire, dive to fire, and aim down sight speed. This right here is super crucial. The reason being is that slide to fire is something, because of all the omni movement and sliding around, we really like that. So it helps you bring up your gun just overall faster. Back, of course, in MW3 Warzone, we never had slide to fire as a metric, but with omni movement, that is something we have to think about and worry about. So that's really gonna help us out there. So definitely wanna have that. And of course, it helps your ADS speed. So it's kind of like sprint to fire in a sense, but for sliding. So I think you guys definitely gonna like that. I always go for the ergonomic. Lastly, in the stock section, there's realistically 3 good attachments in here. So first one being the no stock. No stock is frankly fantastic. I've ran this. I think it's good. It's something I've kind of even ran more recently, and I think it's pretty solid. So you can run the no stock. The Infiltrator is another really good one for aim locking movement speed. I think you'll be able to really kind of glide around back and forth. Sorry, I just maybe bumped my mic right there, but you really should be able to kind of glide around back and forth in your aiming. So that's pretty awesome. And then the balance stock down here is another really great option. Probably my go-to right now would be the no stock or the balance, and then I'll go for the Infiltrator. But at no point are any of these 3 going to be bad. Just stay away from the heavy stock and the combat, and whatever you choose in here, otherwise you really can't go wrong. So for this build, I'll just choose the balance stock. With that being said, that's my full build. Now let's move on to the next one. Thanks to U4GM for sponsoring this video. They're a professional Black Ops 6 service provider that specializes in cheap gift packs up to 50% off. They also specialize in easy camo unlocks and max level, along with bot lobbies, and you can even use code CHUCK at checkout for 5% off. Next up, we're jumping here to the C9. This is a really awesome SMG. Between this, the compact, I mean, pretty much all these I'm showing you are top meta, right? But I'll show you guys how to make them, of course, the most effective they can be. I use these exact setups when I'm playing in game. So obviously I'm not going to show you guys something that I don't use personally. Obviously I want to use the best things possible to drop the highest kills in games. So I'll show you what I'm using. First thing, obviously, is going to be the long barrel. Don't need a muzzle, don't need an optic. I mean, the iron sights are great. If you put an optic on this, you're just kind of lost. So I don't know why you'd ever do that. We're just going to go for the long barrel. This gets you 15.8 meters. Bullet velocity is perfectly fine. This is not a SMG making a sniper support. You really only want to use this as a close range SMG. It's not like the KSV where it's got that versatility to it. This is just really good for close range. So throw that on there. Under barrel, 2 good options in here. What I've been recently using actually as the vertical foregrip, and the reason being is that the overall sway the gun has, the recoil, it's you start firing and then all of a sudden it wants to start jiggling back and forth. It's really annoying, and there's not really much of a way to counter it. So I've been using the vertical foregrip, which helps more that horizontal recoil control, because it's not like the firing aiming stability where it just shakes. It actually physically moves back and forth. So this really does help you out. I think that's a great option. If you feel like that doesn't bother you, just go for the Ranger foregrip and you guys will be taken care of in that regard. So go ahead and slap that bad boy on there, one of the two, and you'll be good. This right now though is my choice. Magazine, we're gonna throw on Extended Mag 2 here. I've actually ran Extended Mag 1 plenty. Both are very viable options. I'd say Extended Mag 2 is gonna be the better option though for the mass majority of people out there, just being that it actually helps us with, you know, the extra 10 rounds in the mag, not really too many penalties. I mean, it's one of the only attachments that's going to give you a penalty. So I think it's worth it to have the extra 10 rounds and you'll be taken care of. Rear grip, we're going to go through on the ergonomic grip here once again. Pretty standard. I run this on almost all my SMGs that I can run something on there, with the exception of if there's an SMG that doesn't have the rear grip category, then I won't, but obviously for this I will. Stock, we're gonna go down in here, and kind of the same thing applies from the KSV to this. However, I will say I think the Infiltrator and the Balance Stock are going to be the better options as opposed to no stock. This is like okay, but I do feel the C9 benefits from that aim locking movement speed. I really like that. To be honest, I ran that more recently, and the Balance Stock is great as well. So overall, I think I'm going to choose the Infiltrator, but between, like I said, no stock, Infiltrator, and Balance, you're not going to go wrong. So go ahead and slap that on there, and this right here is my full build. Next up, let's give you guys a build here for the PPSH-41. This is a really solid SMG, and you can build it out actually a few different ways. There's like a bunch of different variations, but I'll try and give you guys the best way to run it. So we're actually going to go into the muzzle section, and we are going to throw on the suppressor. The reason being is that the PPSH, for whatever reason, has an absurd amount of like muzzle flash. Like it just wants to constantly muzzle flash you when you're shooting it, and that's super frustrating. It's like, it's just annoying to look at. It makes it harder to keep it, you know, keep an aim on your target. So we don't like that. We're gonna use a suppressor, which is gonna make this thing infinitely more effective in that regard, and it's also gonna keep you off the radar. So go ahead and slap that on there. Barrel section, couple options in here. You can throw on the long barrel, you can throw on the reinforced barrel. For this one, we're just gonna stick with the long barrel though. Gets you out to 20.2 meters, which is fantastic, right? You can see your bullet velocity is 530, which is still within range, or within, you know, the parameters we want it for, so it's not like it's lacking in that regard. So go and slap the long barrel on there, and you can also try out the reinforced if you feel like it. Even realistically speaking, the short barrel's not that bad. It's just not going to do you any benefits to your range. The only thing I'd really stay away from is the CHF barrel, because that's not really going to do much for you. We don't care about the increased neck multiplier, and the gain twist is cool, but we still rather have better range because we're not using this as sniper support. So try any of these like three, but the most effective is going to be the long barrel. On a barrel section, we're going to go in here and just throw on the Ranger foregrip. This is a super low, minimal recoil gun. Don't got to worry about it bouncing around back and forth. Probably the worst recoil out of anything in this top 5 is that C9. That's why I have the vertical on there. So honestly, the rest of these guns, you can run the Ranger and be totally good. So we're going to go slap that on there. Now in the magazine, this is something where I have issues with this gun. So I go for Extended Mag 1 primarily because, well, it's already, 45 rounds. That's perfectly fine. But Extended Mag 2, if you guys will notice, whenever you pick up the ground loop PPSH, or if you have it on your loadout, when you have to reload, you slap the mag in, and then it has to do another tap in after that, and you can't bypass that animation. So you get caught in that animation, especially when you're running away from somebody, trying to get a quick reload in, played up a little bit. You will get caught kind of like pants down, and you'll be still not reloaded because you haven't had that second tap animation. It's not like you can sprint cancel or YY cancel it out. So I prefer to go for Extended Mag 1, as it's just a single slap in there and you are good to go. You can almost cut that animation a little bit shorter too. So I think it's awesome, and there's no extra cons with it. It doesn't slow me down extra, whereas this will. So overall, I think Extended Mag 1 is the better way to go for this thing. I don't like picking up the Extended Mag 2 version. I think it's too slow of a reload. That's why I always go for like a C9, a SOG, a Jackal, something on ground loop, as opposed to the PPSH or a KSV, for instance. KSV's like my go-to. Now we're gonna go to the stock section here for our last attachment, because there is no rear grip. This is one of those SMGs that doesn't have a rear grip on it. So what we're gonna do is we're probably gonna throw on the combat stock or the agility stock. Agility stock helps your ADS speed and aim locking speed. That's really awesome. And the combat helps your dive to fire, slide to fire, and sprint to fire. So you can't really have all the things you want. Like we'd have a rear grip for that slide to fire and ADS speed, and we'd use the stock for something else, but because it doesn't have a rear grip section, I'm not sure why, we can't really do that. So we have to kind of go through here and choose what's going to work best for us. But largely speaking, it's going to be the combat or the agility, which are going to be the best for you. I've tested all of these out, and I don't think you're going to find anything else better for prime close range engagement than the combat or the agility stock. So slap that on there, and that'll be your full PPSH build. Now let's hop in here to one of my personal favorite SMGs to use, probably besides the KSV. I mean, actually, I really like the C9 as well. So I guess I got a few favorites in here, but the compact, I'm really happy that this is like actually a super solid SMG, but it is still like, for whatever reason, super slept on. You just don't see it getting used on people's loadouts much unless they're maybe watching my vids or somebody else's vids. But it's really, really good. It's got probably the fastest TTK at close range, so you will legitimately fry. So first thing, optic muzzle, skipping that barrel section. And this is really cool because this is one of the reasons I absolutely love this gun right now, is we're gonna go through on that integrated suppressor barrel. It's so awesome. So we have bullet velocity, damage range, and we're off the radar. We have a nice 3-for-1 attachment on this thing, which is awesome. So we don't have to waste an attachment on a muzzle or anything else like that. So listen, we got like the benefits of long barrel, the gain twist barrel, and a suppressor in one. It's like, and also just take a look at this. Your damage at effective range is 15.8 meters on the long barrel, which will give you the absolute most damage at effective range possible. Go down here to the integrator suppressor barrel, it's 15.2 meters. You lose 0.6 meters of range by having this as opposed to long barrel, and you're not going to notice that. Like, you just flat out will not notice that. So we're going to slap on the integrated suppressor barrel and get a nice 3-for-1. It's super awesome. I'd recommend exclusively running it this way. And if for whatever reason you don't want to, throw on the long barrel. But you're still, I think, losing out on a lot of benefit by not running this. So underbarrel section, we're gonna go throw on that Ranger foregrip. This is another SMG that doesn't really require the vertical. It's not the C9, so the Ranger works out great. Magazine, we're gonna go throw on Extended Mag 2. The only reason I'm not saying running Extended Mag 3 is just it slows you down too much. I think it feels a little bit too cumbersome, a little bit too clunky. I haven't tried it in a while, but I will say that, you know, Extended Mag 2 is what I've been running for a long time, and it feels great, so I haven't had any issues or felt like I needed more ammo. You can try out Extended Mag 3, kind of slide around the firing range, see if it works good for you, but overall, I say Extended Mag 2 is the move. It's 50 rounds in the mag. Anything out past 40, 45 for an SMG is really what you're aiming for. This has 50, so we're pretty much good with that. Rear grip section, we're gonna throw in that ergonomic here. This is standard, not gonna explain it. You guys kind of know what it does. And then in the stock section, my go-to on this is actually the no stock. I really enjoy the no stock on this gun. I just think it works out great. It's a huge thing for me. Like, I enjoy it a lot. So whether that is like gonna be statistically the best attachment to use, well, I mean, nothing's gonna make or break your build here. But the no stock is great. Infiltrator stock is gonna be wonderful, and same with the balance stock. Overall, you're not going to go wrong with any of these three. Just stay away from the combat and the heavy. None of them are going to be useful. Like, who cares about extra flinch resistance? Like, that doesn't matter. We're not coming off target. It's not like it's a Car 98 where you have flinch resistance, your reticle goes way off or something like that. Like, this is an SMG. You know, you're going to be fine. So throw on the no stock or the infiltrator or the balance and you'll be good to go. My preference right now is the no stock. So I'm going to be running this, and this is going to be my full build. All right, last but not least, I'm going to be telling you guys about the Lockman Shroud. So this will catch some of you guys off guard, but like, you're going to have to listen to me about this one. This is truly a really good SMG. Like, genuinely speaking, by itself, the base model, it's a 3-round burst. That sucks. We're not here for that. We're here for the aftermarket part. So if you don't have the aftermarket part, kind of disregard this. But you need the aftermarket part to be good. If you're not going to be using that, then you're just lost in the sauce and you're going to be losing all of your gunfights. So throw in the jack decimator that turns it from a 3-round burst to fully automatic. It's really awesome. Makes this thing so much better, and it makes it the best like MP5. Well, maybe, I don't know if it competes with the C9 in that sort of regard, but like, it's one of the best MP5 looking guns in the game, and it also comes with an integrated suppressor, so we can't complain about that. So we're gonna skip actually optic and barrel section, go straight for the underbarrel. Don't need to mess with the barrel at all. Don't need to increase out anything else. I think it'll just slow you down. Like, we can take a look at it. This is like cool and all, but it slows you down like a lot of cons. We don't need that. And this one also just really hurts your bullet velocity and range while speeding you up, so we don't need that either. Underbarrel, first thing we're gonna do is go down here and use the jack slash. So it may look kind of funky, but it is really good. So movement speed, sprint speed, and vertical recoil, this is just totally gonna stabilize you out. You're not gonna have no issues with this gun. So go ahead and run that. The only other thing I'd say you can run basically is to go in here and maybe run the XRK Edge. That's pretty solid as well. So between that, like the XRK Edge, the DR6 and the FTAC MSP98 all do the same thing. They dumb down those attachments, considering, like, you know, the BO6 guns have 5 to 6 attachments and they all do one different thing and they're all named the same thing, whereas we have 39 underbarrels. So, you know, they just kind of dumbed them down so they all do the same thing. They just visually look different. So use the XRK Edge, DR6, FTAC MSP, or just go down in here and use what I'm using, the Jack Slash. Magazine, we're gonna throw on the 40 round mag. I do not believe the 50 round drum is the move. Look at all those cons. Look at the 40 round mag. We only lose reload quickness. And by the way, I think this is kind of funny. You can do that. So we're gonna slap that on there. Next up, we're gonna go to the stock section and we're gonna actually throw on that FT mobile stock. This is actually pretty gas. Aiming idle sway, I mean, that's cool, but we really just care about the aim down sight speed, crouch movement speed. Well, actually, I didn't really care about the crouch movement speed. Frankly, there's just nothing good in here to run short of the LM stockless mod. So if you guys want like some premium movement, like you want to really be flying around the map, run the stockless mod and you'll be fully taken care of. But for the majority of people out there that are going to feel like this got too much recoil on it, I personally don't think so, but I'm kind of building this out for a lot of, you know, everyone else out there. I could run both of these and be perfectly fine. Frankly, I ran this and I dropped like 40 and 45 kills in a game with it when I was going for gameplay. So I think the FT Mobile is pretty solid. So go and run that or the stockless, up to you. Just can have significantly more recoil with the stockless. Unfortunately, we have cons on these things. And lastly, we're gonna go to the laser section and we're gonna throw on this very first one here, the RYL33 laser light. Yes, laser is visible in ADS. Yes, the flashlight is visible in ADS, but who cares? Aim walking steadiness, tack stand spread, sprint to fire speed, and aim down sight speed. I mean, you're not gonna be losing too much at close range with all this mobility and a great TTK. Like, it does go up there and compete with like everything in the game right now, and that's why it's in this top 5. I'm not just throwing something here to kind of throw in there for the sake of variety. I'm literally giving you guys the best guns to use. So seriously, try this thing out. This will seriously surprise you. But anyways, this has been my top 5. You guys enjoyed it, give it a like, subscribe, check out this other video on screen, and I'll see you all next time.